Hello, hello. Okay, so now we are going to see how to use different operators, mathematical operators, and the logical operators in extended rule. Okay, in the map editor. Now, to do that, um, as I was explaining in previous session, that to s- to get help on the map editor, you always can open this map editor documentation, and this is where you can find all the help related to map editor, right? So I was explaining you that these are the mathematical operators that are available on the that are available on the uh, map editor, and you can use these extended rules to write um, you can use this operator to write extended rules. Okay, now I'm going to show you few of them. So now say suppose we have this employee ID right here, you can see, and which is an integer. Okay, now say suppose the requirement is we need to add 100 or 50 on the employee ID before we uh, assign the employee ID to the output side, right? So you can see that the employee ID is being mapped to the account number. Okay, so now let's see how we can do it. Okay, so our requirement is add 100 in the employee ID. So you will, so to access a field, okay, to access a specific field from the in the extended rule, you have to use the pound sign. Okay, and then employee emp id, right? We want to say emp id equals to emp id plus 100, right? Okay, again I is capital in the emp id. Sorry. Okay, so this is how you can use plus operator. Okay, now if you want to run, we can run it. The value of employee id is not happened. Employee id is 111 on both records. Some problem, I think, with my map editor. Let me see. SI is running. This one is good. Virtual machine is a little slow, I think. Hmm. Okay, so it's working now. So, um, so here is my input file. So you can see here employee ID is 111, and my extended rule is like this, right? Employee ID equals to employee ID plus 100. So now I'm going to run this map. Okay, so I have added 100 on the employee ID. Now it has become 211 and 211, right? So this is how you can use arithmetic operators. So like this, we are adding. If you want to subtract, you can use minus, right? And then this, click on compile, right? So this time 100 is minus, subtracted from the employee ID, and it has become the account number because your employee ID is mapped to the account number. Okay. So similarly, you can use all other operators. Okay, you can use all other these arithmetic operators, right? Now there are few other operators that we call them as logical operators. Okay, so logical operators are used to uh, to compare values. Okay, so say suppose 2 is greater than 10 or not, right? So these logical operators return, do the comparison or whatever condition you want to check, they check that condition for you, and after checking the condition, they return a value, right? So in the map editor, if the condition that you are checking with the logical operators, if it's true, then your logical operators return a non-zero value. Okay, but if your condition is false, okay, if your condition is false, then your operator returns 0, right? So if it's false, it logical operators return 0. If it's true, then it returns some non-zero value. So what I'm trying to say is, let's say suppose, okay, so obviously if I want to show this to you, I have to write some code, and I have, because I want to show that what the value is written by your logical operators. So to show that, I have to assign the result of that comparison, right, in a variable, and you will see that result of that comparison will be assigned in the employee ID, and then employee value of employee ID, because is mapped to the account number, right? We will see that comparison result in the account number in the output map. Now say suppose I want to compare, I want to check if 3 is greater than 100. Okay, so this is greater than sign. See here, this one. This is greater than sign. Greater than sign means uh, this. I do not remember what we call this symbol, but where this uh, arrow is open, like this side is this is open, right? This symbol is open, right? That side is considered greater. Okay, so by writing this condition, I want to check if 3 is greater, right, than 100, right? And obviously this is not true statement, it's not true, right? So this operator will return a 0, right? If my condition is not true, condition is false, right, then your logical operators return 0 always. But if your condition is true, right, then it will return a non-zero value. But in case we will expect to get a 0. 0 means false, right? And non-zero value means true, right? So let's see, compile, everything looks okay. Okay, okay, over here. Okay, 0. Account number is 0. Why? Why you see here account number is 0? Because condition that you have mentioned, right, is false. So false always returns. If your condition is not true, then we call it as a false condition, right? And in the map editors, right, the false is represented by a 0. So this operation, right, this comparison has written is 0 that I have assigned in the employee ID, and the employee ID is mapped to the account number. But if I make it like this, right, now what it has become? It has become 3 is less than 100, which is true. Or I can also read it as 100 is greater, right? See, this symbol is open now towards 100. So 100 is greater than 3, right? So this time this condition is true, and now let's see what happens. Okay, so this time it has written 1. This now this map editor is returning 1, but it can return any non-zero value, right? If it returns non-zero value, then it means your condition is true, right? We use these logical operators, okay, in conditions to check condition. Okay, uh, and you have other these logical conditions that you can check, and these are very simple, right? And and if you have any programming background, then you must be familiar of all these things. Okay, so let's move on, and now let's see few other things. Okay, so we use this kind of comparison in decision making statements, okay, or in the loop statements, right? In map editor we have a decision making or the branching concept, and we achieve that concept of branching concept in map editor using the if else. Okay, so sorry, if else can be used to check a condition. Okay, if else can be used to check a condition, and we can write more complex logic using the if else. Okay, so if is a block which will be executed if your condition is true, and else is executed if your condition is not true. Okay, so it's, I mean, normally we in even in the common uh, common talks, we use this kind of thing, right? Okay, if today I complete my work, then I will go to watch a movie. So if actually I complete my work, then I will go and watch a movie. But if that condition is not true, which condition means work is not completed, then else what I will do, I will continue to work, right? So this is how your if statements or the if conditions work in the map editor, right? So how to write if, now we are going to see that. Okay, so we use if for the decision making and for the branching. Okay, so how to write if and then condition. Now say suppose my condition is employee ID. If employee ID is greater than 100, okay, then do what? Employee ID equal to ID plus 100. Okay. Else, okay, if employee ID is not greater than 100, it means it's less than 100, then employee ID equal to 00000. Okay. So this is how we write if. Okay. So if statement or condition start with the word if, then you have to write the condition that it needs to evaluate, and based on that condition, or the based on the result of that evaluation of that condition, it will either execute this statement or this statement. If condition is true, then this statement will be executed, and but if condition is false, then this statement will be executed. Okay. Now let's run this, and then I will show you a little complex example. Okay. So this is 211. So in this case, your so for the first, oh, this is the output actually. I have to make the changes on the input side. Okay. So employee ID is 111 and employee ID is 111 for both employees. Okay. So in this case, because employee ID is greater than 100, so our if will be satisfied and 100 will be added on this. But if your employee ID is 11, which means it's less, it's not, what was the condition that I wrote? So employee ID is obviously not greater than 100, it's less than 100. Okay. So in that case, employee ID will be has been hard coded to 000. Okay. So in the first case, for the first employee, which will be converted to user, employee ID will be, for the first it will be plus 100, and for the second it should be 00. Okay. Now let's run this. See, 2111 and then I have 0. Actually I said 000, which is actually 0 for the integer, so it has made the round off. Okay. So for the first one it has added 100, for the second one it is 0, because for the first employee ID, for the first employee element, if is true, right? Employee ID is greater than 100. So this has happened. But for the second one, else is executed. So this is how we write if else. Okay. Now, if you have multiple statements in the if condition, okay, obviously you can have multiple statements in the if or in the else. Okay. Like in this case, I mean, I had only one statement. that I want to run if my condition is true, then you can directly write it as we did. Okay, but if you want to write multiple statements, okay, then you have to use the begin and end, okay, which is begin end, right? So if you have multiple statement, you want to write multiple statement if your condition is true, or for the if, then you have to use the begin and end. But if you have only one statement, then you can just simply write it. Okay, you don't need to use the begin and end statements or keywords. Okay, similarly for else also, if you have multiple statements that you want to execute, if the condition is false, or condition is if condition fails, then you have to write begin and end. Okay, so this time I have added 100 twice. Okay, let's see. So 100 is added twice. Okay, and here is 0 0. Okay, so this is the how we write extended rule. Okay, so this is how we write extended rules. Okay, in extended rules, this is how actually this is how we use if and else. Okay, if else, if then begin and end, like that. Okay, you can also have nested if else. Okay, if else, right? And say suppose you want to test one more condition inside this if, then obviously you can again write if, another condition, right? Then, and then begin, and then end. So based on your requirement, you can write nested if else as well. Okay, so this is how we use branching. Okay, if condition is true, run one branch, but if condition is not true, then run another branch. Okay, next we are going to see looping. Okay, next we are going to learn looping. Okay, so I hope everybody is familiar that what is a loop. It's uh, very basic. Even if you have learned C, you know how to write the loops, right? In map editor, we have only while loop. Okay, we have only while loop. Okay, for do while, these are not supported in the map editor. So we have while loop, right? Now I'm going to show you how to write while loop. Counter, okay, while, after that condition, I have to initialize this. Counter is less than 10. Okay, do begin end. Okay, between this begin and end, you have to write the your business logic that you want to execute 10 times. Okay, that is looping. When we want to do, or we want to perform similar tasks multiple times, then we use the loop, because instead of writing the same statements 5 times or 10 times, it's better to use the loop. Okay, so loop will execute until until condition is true. Okay, until condition is true. Until condition is true, your control will go in the begin and end. Once condition is false, condition is not satisfied, your control will come to the next statement after the end. Okay, so this is how we write while loop in the uh, map editor in the extended rules. Okay, so let's say I want to write something like this: employee ID is equal to plus counter. So you can see that there is a warning line 5 that says missing this. So this, okay. Compile. Okay. So in this logic, this while will be executed 9 times. Actually 10 times, because it's starting with the 0, right? Oh, actually, currently this will go in the infinite loop. Okay, so when you are writing loops and the conditions, you always need to remember, and you need to be very careful. Otherwise, if you do mistake like this, as I am doing right now, this map will go infinite loop, right? So if you see here, value of counter is 0, right? It will come here on this statement where it will check the condition. So 0 is less than 10, true. So it will go inside, and it will say employee ID equals to employee ID plus counter. So current value of counter is 0. Employee ID says value of employee ID says suppose X. So X plus 0. So it will be X. And that value is assigned to the employee ID. Next, when this will go back right in the loop, and then it will come to the first statement again, and it will say counter, which is right now 0, is less than 10. So it's less than 10, it will come here, and it will perform this operation again it will go and check for the condition. It will say 0 is less than 10. So the point is, I'm not incrementing counter anywhere, so this condition will true rest of the life, and your map will go in the infinite loop, and eventually it will stop this map, or maybe your SI will shut down, right, because of the memory issue. Okay, so somewhere I have to say okay. So now it's okay. Now in this case, your loop will execute 10 times. So finally, as I explained you, now I have incrementing my counter. So initially, first time value of counter will be 0. So 0 is less than 10, right? It will go in the loop and it will say employee ID equals to employee ID plus counter. So employee ID is x plus 0 is x. It will come here and it says counter equals to counter plus 1. So current value of counter is 0. So 0 plus 1 is 1. So now value of counter is 1. It will control will go on the first statement again and it will check the while condition, condition of while. So value of counter right now is 1. So 1 is less than 10, condition is 2. It will go here, it will run this statement again and it will say counter equals to counter plus 1. Now value of counter is 2. So similarly like that it will go, and at one point it will be 9 is less than 10, right? So condition satisfied, it will come here and this time it will execute counter equals to counter plus 1, which means 9 plus 1, which is 10. So now this, when this statement will be executed, value of counter will become 10, right? So when this statement will execute in that iteration, 10 is less than 10. That is not true. 10 is equals to 10, right? So this condition will false, and once this condition is failed, or if this condition is evaluated to false, or in other words when it returns 0, your while will stop, okay, and your counter will go to the next statement after while loop if there is any statement to execute, okay. So you can see that it compiles successfully. Hmm. So 56 and 156, right? So why it has happened? Because you say suppose this is your 11. So it's a 11, 11 plus 0, and then 11 plus 1, the 11 plus 2, like that, right? No, sorry. 11 plus 0, it will be 11. So in the next time, 11 plus 1. So value of employee ID will become 12, right? So 12 plus 2, which will be 14. In the next time, 14 plus 3. So if you count that way, you will see if your loop execute 10 times, you will get this value. Sorry, this value 156 and 56. Okay, so this is how your while loop works. Okay, and I mean it's a simple looping concept you have that you have learned in other programming languages. Okay, okay, so this is how your map editor works, right? Hmm. Now, so so far you have learned how to create extended rule, which are places you can apply standard rule, how to declare variable, right? How to assign values in the field, how to use the logical operators, arithmetic arithmetic operator, and the if condition and while loop. Okay, if else and while. Now we are going to see functions. Okay, because functions are very important in in the map editor, and you will be using these functions a lot. Okay, you will be using these functions a lot. Okay, so it's important that we uh, know these functions, and we should know what is the use of these function and how to apply these functions in the while writing the extended rule. Okay, so let's see that. Okay, now let's look at the functions. Okay, and so the first function that is available in the map editor for use is a to I. Okay, a to I, a to I, a to I means a to I. This is a function. Okay, alphanumeric to integer. Okay, alphanumeric to integer. So a to I is a function or method that we use to convert a string into an integer. Okay, we use a to I function to convert a string into an integer. So now the question is, why you will convert a string into integer? What will be the requirement, right? Requirement is, say suppose your employee ID. Okay, employee ID is right now in my map is a integer. I have declared it as an integer. But say suppose this is a string. This is how your map is developed. Okay, that this is how your map is developed. Ah, getting hand. Yes, and I will say free comment. Okay. Okay. Now say suppose that is the case, and you need to perform the same thing, right? So if your employee ID is less than 100, then employee ID should be converted to 000, and if the employee ID is greater than 0, then you need to plus 100 on the employee ID, right? Now the problem is employee ID is a string. First of all, you cannot do the mathematical operation on a string, right? Means this is string, right? It cannot be compared with the integer, right? Because this is a string, because this is a string, right? So it cannot be compared with this integer 100 using this operator. So you will not you will not able to use uh, logical operator in the if. Okay, so in this case you have to convert this field into you have to convert this field into integer. You have to convert this string into integer. Okay, second, uh, you will have scenarios where you want to assign a value, right, which is a string into integer element, integer field, right? So if you want to do that, you know that the variable which you have right now is a string type, or a field is a string type, but it contains integer number, and it will always contain integer value, right? So in that case also you have to convert your string into integer because you want to assign the value in a integer, right? So you will see a lot of places where you will be using this method, right? So I can show you one. Integer I, okay, I equal to, so if I say, suppose say employee ID, right? Editor will not allow me to do it because expected a numeric expression found employee ID which is of type string, so it's not possible. So in that case, what we can do is we can use this method a to I. Okay? Now it's working because a to I method will take a string, right? It will take a string and it will return the integer value. Okay, means 100 will be converted to numeric 100, right? Once your value is converted, you can utilize it the way you want. ID. Okay, like this. Okay, now I can do the comparison. If I is greater than 100, okay, then what you need to do, then now again, actually I will say, okay, so this function is used to convert your uh, alphanumeric to integer, okay, your strings to integer, right? So I mean, when you will start working on it, you will have situation, you will have scenarios, you will automatically use this function. You just have to know that you have a capability available, right, that can work in this way. Okay, okay, got it. Similarly, we have another function called um, a to n. Okay, a to n. So a to n function, what a to n function do? A to n means alphanumeric to n means number. Okay, when here I'm saying n, I mean floating numbers or real numbers. Okay, if you remember, I explained you at the beginning that we have two type of data types. One is called integer and other is the real number. Real number holds decimal values like 2.3, 3.5, like that. Integer numbers only contain whole numbers like 5, 6, 7, 800, 2000, million, like that. Okay, So this A to N function converts a string into real number. See, it cannot be converted. Okay, converting a real number to an integer may lose significant digit. So actually, this function is converting your string into a real number, but because of implicit conversion, okay, your map editor is converting real number to integer, but it's giving you warning that when you will convert 3.5 or real number into the integer, the value after the decimal will be dropped. Okay, so that is why it's giving you warning. So it is, instead of this I will do real. Okay, now see, real I equals to A to N. Got it? So A to N is another function that we use very frequently to convert strings into real number. Like this. Okay. A to N. Okay. We have, now let's look at some string functions. Okay, that we will using a lot when you will write extended rules. Okay. So one of that function is concat. Okay, so concat is a function in map editor that you will use writing the standard rules. Sorry. Okay, and concat function is used to concatenate strings. Okay, concatenate strings. Got it? Now say suppose this name element. Okay, you have you have a requirement where you need to add Mr. in front of name. Okay, so suppose name is Jay, so you need to add Mr. in front of the Jay. How you will do? So you have a string, you want to add another string in front of the name string. Okay, Jay should become Mr. Jay. Okay, so how you will do it? To do that, you can use the concatenate function. Name equals to concat. This is the function. Okay, so string, this is how we write string, right? In double quotes. Got it? In double quotes we write strings. Mr. space comma another string that you want to concatenate. So another string is name itself. Okay, okay, so actually I got confused, sorry. So here, this is not how concatenate function of map editor work. I got confused between this function and the Java concatenate method. So actually in the map editor, concatenate function works differently. Okay, so it has, say suppose, s1, s2, 5. This is the format. Okay, so what concatenate function do is it take first five characters, okay, first five letters from s2 and add that five characters at the end of s1. Okay, so in the s1, say suppose you have j, okay, and in s2 you have, say suppose, Mr. Okay, and the value is 2. So it will take the two characters, right, from the s2 string, and it will add those two characters that it has extracted from s2 at the end of s1. Okay, for example, say suppose name, okay, Mr. Kash, Mr. Kapil, and then say suppose 3. So what will happen, it when this statement or when this function is executed, this function, say suppose value of name is j. Okay, what it will do, it will take three characters, first three characters, 1, 2, and 3, space, right? Space is also a character. It will take this value and it will end here. Okay, so let's run this and I'll show you. Okay, okay, here you see input has name as abc, and it has, suppose, x y z. Let me run it again. Okay, can you see it here? abc, Mr. space, right? So 1, 2, and then 3. Okay, and similarly here also. So you can see how concatenate function works, right? So in my example, I have hard coded the second string, right, as you can see here. But the second string also can be some other field, like last name. Okay, so it can be other field also. So now what will happen? First three characters of the last name field. Okay, the last name is a field, right? So whatever value last name will have at the runtime, first three character will be taken and it will be added to name field, name element. Okay, so this is concat. Next, okay, we have one more function in the map editor called the count. Okay, called the count. So count function can be used to count the looping elements. Okay, it can be used to count the looping elements. Okay, say suppose in our example, this is my input file, right? I want to know how many times this employee tag is in my input file. How many times this employee tag is present in my input file, or how many times it is repeating, right? So if we want to know that, then we have another function called the count. We can use that. Now say suppose count, it will be so count like this, employee. So this is how I have name my component, employee, employee, and then asterisk, right? Count function will return number of times employee element present in the input document, and I want to store that in the contact number mobile element field. Mobile. Okay, like this. Okay, and just click on OK, compile it. So actually, it has but this is not actually mapped to uh, this contact number mobile, right? So I was not able to see the result because I applied a uh, extended rule and assigned the values as well in the account number variable, but it was not mapped to any output field. So I was not able to see the calculated value. Right? So now I'm mapping account number mobile to the account number mobile. Account numbers inside the account number I will have mobile. Okay. So see, contact number mobile. So first time when your this thing loop ran, count was 1, and the second time when it ran, count become 2. So it's counting how many times your this thing employee element is present inside the employees. Okay, so if I have one more here, say suppose one more element here, right? The count function will count the loop. So eventually it will return the 3 or 4 or like that. So you can see here it is as 3. Okay, so this is how you can use the count. Okay, now let's look at the another string function. Okay, left. Okay. Left name 4, like this. So left is another string function that can be used to extract this many characters from a string and from the left side. Okay, now say suppose you have a string called A B C D E F G H, right? Name has this value A B C D F G H, and you need first four characters. Okay, you need first four characters of this string. So 1 2 3 4, this is what you need. Okay, due to some reason, okay, you have some requirement, you have a string and you want to find out the first four character. First four character means from the left side. From the left side you want to find 1 2 3 4 characters, and you want to create a new string out of it. Okay, so actually you need this string in a different variable, or you want to use it in some way. Okay, so left function is the function which can split a string, right, and it can create a new string from the specified number of characters from the left. Okay, so like in this case, let's see if I run this and then what will happen. So right now in the name field you do not have any four characters. Okay, so let's say suppose it's J Yadav, and you have Kapil Kumar. Okay, so this is the two strings. Okay, just want to find the first four characters. Okay, I want to find the first four characters. So I need this in this first employee element, and I need the KAPI only in the second string, right? So how you will do this? If you want to do this, you can use the left function. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm using the left function. I will extract the four starting characters of string, and then I'm assigning back that value to the name element. Okay, a name element is added to the name attribute in the user. So you will see how it runs. Okay, okay, okay. See, okay, input has different values, right? But you have extracted the first four characters from the name element. Okay, so this is how you can use the left method. Similarly, we have right method as well, right? Difference between the left and right is, as name implies, left extract the number of specified number of characters from the left side, and the right extracts the specified number of characters from the right side of the string. Okay, so okay, okay, save this map, compile it, and let's run it again. See, last four characters. Hmm. You can see it here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Last four characters. Hmm. So this is how you can use the left and right functions in the map editor. Okay. Okay. Next important function. Okay. Length. Okay. Integer I. Okay. Alien. Length is alien. Length is another very important function, string function, very important string function that can be used to calculate the length. That can be used to calculate the length of a string. Okay, very important. Alien function can be used to calculate the length of a string. Okay, so string can be a map field or it can also be variable. String variable. Okay, so like this name. I want to calculate the length of string that is in the name element. Okay, I will assign that in the I. Okay, and after that I will say name equal to name plus. Okay, so I'll leave this. Okay, so this is how you can find the length of a string. Now, say suppose as name equal to left name and then I minus 5. Okay, so what I'm doing, give me the length of name field, right? So what will be the value of I? Length of name for the first employee element. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9, right? Then I'm saying 9 minus 5. It will be 4, right? So when this expression will be evaluated, it will return 4. So I should see actually first four characters. Okay, in the first one, in the first element. Okay, first four character of name in the name element, which is which will be assigned to the users attribute name at users elements name attribute. Okay, and what about the next one? Field length of this is 1, 2, 3, 11. 11 minus 5 is 6, right? So in case of the second name element, first six character will be stored and everything else will be discarded. Okay, so let's see, let's run this. Okay, you can see here. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6, and here it is 4. So you can use the length function to calculate the length of any string. We have, so this, you saw how length works. Okay, now we have one more function, okay, called mid. Okay, call mid. Mid is another function which has, which give you more flexibility, in which you can specify, you can make a substring by specifying position within the string, right? And then from that position, how many characters you need to make the new string. Okay, so for example, if you see here in this example, JAY space YADAV, right? So I can say 1 2 3 4. From the fourth position, okay, from the fourth position, I need 1 2 3 4 5, 5 characters. From fourth position, I need next 5 characters. So if you want to create the new string out of a string in this way, you can do it. So say suppose fourth position, hmm, next 5 characters. Okay, me. Oh, sorry, like this. Okay, okay. Come over here, click on this. See, from fourth position to next 5 characters. Okay, so similarly, it has also done something like that. So right now, my purpose is just to tell you what all functions we have in the map editor and how it can be used, right? So in the real world, so that you think in this way. Okay, we have one more very important function that we call str string string. Okay, so string function is used to find out, okay, to find out if if a string exists within another string, right? So it's like, if you know Java, in Java we have a function called the contains, right? So using that function, you can find out if a specific sequence of character or specific character is if that character or sequence of character present in the particular string, right? So in the same way, you have str function. Using str function, you can find out if in this element you have this. Okay, if this function finds this substring or this string inside the name element name string, then it will return the position, first occurrence, first position of that uh, that first position of that occurrence. Okay, so for example, in this case, right, where we have this, right, J Yadav, right? So I want to find if this name element will contain Yadov string. Okay, so in the first example, right, in the first case, it will find it. In the second case, it will not find. If this function does not find the specified string, means this one, the second parameter, if it does not find the second parameter in the first parameter, then it returns -1. Okay, but if it finds, then it will return the position at which that character or sequence of character is found. Okay, so this is how you can use the str. Okay, now the last function for today. We have another function, very important function, called the trim. Okay, trim. So trim function is used to remove the white spaces from a string. Okay, you will be using the trim function to remove white spaces from a string, right? So for example, I if I do not use trim function, okay, and my name has spaces at the beginning as well as at the end. Okay, so let me run this for you. Let's see. Content is not allowed in the trailing section. Where? Okay. Input side. mm, So I think I have set some property somewhere in the map that says um, that is giving error if there is a space in the field. Okay, so maybe somewhere I have set something, some property. Okay, because of that, I think it's giving me error. Now I do not remember where I have set what. string free format 20. Oh, maybe it's greater than 20. Now let us reduce the length of this field. Okay, so it's a very late. Anyways, so we have a function called the trim that can remove the white spaces from a string. Okay, trim function can remove white spaces from a string. Okay, and now this trim function removes the white spaces from both side of the string, right side as well as left side. Similarly, if you want to remove the spaces only from the right side, then you can use the trim right. If you want to remove the white spaces only from the left side, then you can use the trim left. Okay, so you can use trim functions to remove the white spaces from a string. Trims trim removes the white space from both side of a string. But if you do not want to remove white space from both sides, you can use specifically trim left or trim right. Okay, to remove white spaces. So these are the functions that we commonly use while writing standard rules. And now, if you want to learn it, you just go open the document and do some practice. Because until unless you will not do practice on these things, you will not understand and you will not get confidence. Okay, so I think that's it for today. Let's meet in the next session. We'll discuss two more things. Okay.